Think about the this first game we're about to watch. Moscow Red Legion taking on upTon 187 Crew.
Well, you know, Moscow Red Legion is 0-2 right now. Very uncharacteristic of those guys to come out 0-2. You know, they're sitting at -8 points, which means they pretty much lost by an average of 4 points each game, which is very, very unlikely usually with these teams. And on the flip side, Run 87 Crew 0-2 as well. They're -7. So these teams right now are about on a level playing field according to the rules, according to the points right now. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, both these teams not able to get a win yesterday, and this is an absolute must-win situation. Denis Golev continuing to struggle here, dying off the break. Him and Mikhail Kovar had some penalty issues yesterday, and it looks like Moscow also losing another player off the break. That's Mikhail Kovar, so Golev and Kovar coming off early. Here comes upTon 187 Crew. Dan Zaleski all the way into Snake 3.
You know,
and another penalty, Chris.
Oh, here comes a penalty. You know, they were really on point yesterday, Maddie. And, you know, me and you and I were talking about it earlier. Now, let's see if that's a minor or a major. I didn't really see it go up. That's a minor penalty.
Yeah, I think it was a minor.
So,
and he was able to get in the box.
Right. But, you know, we had talked about earlier, 187 Crew, every time these teams kind of meet, they have Moscow Red Legion's number. And if you remember right, they went up 6 points on those guys, I think.
Well, it was in the very first game they ever played against Moscow.
That was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, so,
and
wow.
so I mean, well, you know, not a good start right now for Moscow Red Legion, getting that penalty on the board, but, you know, it is a minor, 1 minute minor penalty, which means it comes off because they did lose that point. 187 Crew going up 1-0 right now.
Yeah,
Todd, what do you think about this matchup?
Both these teams are desperate here to get a win. 187 Crew lost to Heat yesterday, as well as the Ironmen. The Heat game was a little bit better game for Crew. They went down, but kind of came back, made it a 1-point game, weren't able to close it out. But then they played the Ironmen and just got stomped into the ground 7-1. So, you know, I know they're a little frustrated. They want to have a better showing here today, but both these teams desperate to get a win, so we're going to see their A game coming from both of them here at the World Cup.
So stick around. We'll be right back with the next point here. Moscow Red Legion, upTon 187 Crew. See you in a second.
The 2013 season of the CXBL has officially come to a close. Thanks to all the players and sponsors for once again making the CXBL one of North America's greatest leagues. Stay tuned to buypbl.com on Facebook. The 2014 season is just around the corner.
So on paper here, upTon 187 Crew and Red Legion, pretty close, but you got to give the advantage to Moscow Red Legion as they have done pretty well here in the Champions Division, coming out of last event where they had a good showing, able to make that top 4. upTon 187 Crew been struggling, going back and forth between the Champs and Challengers Division all season long. And but both these teams are 0-2. The first point had gone to upTon 187. Let's see if upTon can keep those on the break shots going. Heavy guns in the center for upTon, and Moscow sending a player all the way up to the center A off the break.
That's been really, really effective shutting down that snake side, Matt. You can see Pike right there trying to get outside to this snake, but look up the middle. Nice move by 187 Crew, getting down, still alive, Matty.
Yeah, he made it all the way past. Actually, I think that's Jason Wheeler, and that's going to be a penalty, I believe, on Jason Wheeler, who's also struggled at this event.
Yeah, Jason Wheeler got that penalty the first point too, so that's 2 points and 2 minors in a row for Jason. Oh no, Jason Wheeler.
I thought it was Golev.
Yeah.
I think there's two. There might be 2 penalties. I think there might be 2 penalties right now, but right there, Mikhail Kovar going down.
There are bodies walking out from Moscow all over the place right now.
Moscow is just falling to pieces here in the first 2 points.
It looks like they got 2 minor penalties on that point there, Maddie and Todd.
Yeah, well,
they were just confused about who got pointed, instructed to go to the box.
Yeah, that does happen occasionally. Sometimes one player will get pulled, and those players are not exactly sure who gets the penalty. So, but regardless, man, actually, there's 2 penalties on the
Wheeler.
There's 2 penalties on the clock. There's a 31-second penalty and a 52-second penalty.
Well, when they called that second penalty on Jason Wheeler, there was already somebody in the box when I looked. So I guess we'll have to sit back, wait for our stat guys to iron that system out and see exactly what happened. It looks like it's a major now. I don't know. I think they're going to talk about it, Manny, and see what they come out to.
Well, disappointing so far for Moscow Red Legion fans as they went 0-2 yesterday. Even though they put those first 3 points up on Heat and then just imploded after that. And we're watching a little bit of an implosion right now.
I think it was penalties, wasn't it?
It's totally penalties, man. Moscow's got to stay out of the box. They're just not having a good event right now. Just looking undisciplined.
Yeah, and that's unusual, you know, because, Todd, these guys are usually one of the most disciplined teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's tough when you lose a couple guys like Pantaleev and Kirill. But, yeah, we'll sort this out. We'll be right back after these messages.
PaintballDojo.com. Support your favorite pro teams. Get your name printed on pro team gear. PaintballDojo.com. Lifestyle gear for players. Full color and completely custom options. You can build a custom design straight from our website. Gear available for both men and women. PaintballDojo.com. Lifestyle gear for players.
So Moscow getting set for this next point. This is a must-win situation for them, as they're 0-2, and then just complete disaster here in his first 2 points. 187 Crew looking pretty solid, shooting players off the break, and you know, it's not. I mean, yeah, upTon 187 Crew looks good. They're shooting guys off the break, but Moscow is just getting penalties, and they have no chance to even fight back. Laval taking the walk early for upTon.
And also Brian Janko getting shot out of the snake. You see Moscow Red Legion kind of waiting out the penalty right now, Maddie. I think they're going to wait for him to come out of the box and kind of make a push after that. It looks like here comes a penalty, a major penalty right now on number 37, Eddie Painter.
Well, hey, there you throw it right back at him.
Wow.
upTon. Now this is Moscow's chance right now, as upTon shooting themselves in the foot. Now Kovar going to work over here on the snake side, and he's going to score the point for Moscow. And he's going to run it in, try to preserve all the time on that 2-minute major penalty that Eddie Painter got. Still going to be 1 minute and 39 seconds left to go on that one. 17:27 on the clock. Moscow Red Legion back at full strength, and now 1-point game here. So good job by Michael Kovar to get it done on the snake side. Got that cross-field kill, went, grabbed the flag, ran it in to preserve all that time on the clock from the Eddie Painter penalty. And you know, that's what Moscow needed right there. And now they need to go back in the pits and reconnect with each other and say, look, okay, look, let's get everyone get a deep breath here. Forget about the fact we got a ton of penalties in that first couple points. It's a 1-point game right now, and now we're on the power play. Let's make this happen.
And you know, against Moscow Red Legion, they're not a team you want to have a power play against either. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, you don't want to be down a body definitely against Moscow Red Legion.
Well, I like the gumption that Kovar just showed right there. He struggled with penalties yesterday, but they got him playing over here. You know, they're not running Kevin Klum over here. They're running Michael Kovar, but Kovar had a 3-pack in that very important point right there. Big clutch performance in that last point by Michael Kovar. What do you think, Todd?
I think that there's been a lot of penalties thrown here in the first 3 points of this game. Only less than 3 minutes have ticked off this clock, and we've already seen 4 flags fly in the air, 2 majors, a couple minors. I mean,
getting off to a crazy start.
First 3 points is indicative of the rest of this game's going to go. We'll probably get done with this match like around 5 o'clock.
No, but I definitely agree with the penalties being thrown. But I mean, you know, the judges out here are the best in the world. They come out here, they said a statement, and you know, let's kind of see how this irons out. I mean, I hope that they can recover from this.
Well, now the question is, can 187 fight through this penalty? Or is Moscow, when you get that major, you want to be able to put at least one point, tie this up. If you're on Moscow right now, you're thinking, hey, let's just get one right now, and let's send this back to even.
Yeah, it looks like that Red Legion player left early. Coming out to the snake corner.
God, there is just so many mental mistakes happening out there right now. Did he really leave early? Is that why he got pulled?
It looked to me like he left early. The ref called him pretty quick there. He was checking his pack. But needless to say, down 1 body already for Moscow Red Legion. 2 bodies walked off for upTon 187 Crew, Derula and Painter. Painter's still sitting in that box, so just 3 bodies left alive for upTon 187. Now number 8, Greg Lazat gets shot out of that Dorito 1. He comes walking off. upTon 187 needs to stay alive and burn some of this clock.
Another minor penalty.
We got another minor penalty out of that Dorito corner on upTon 187. I think that was Nick Laval. Because Dan Zaleski was the last player alive over here in the snake corner for 187. So upTon 187 came out hitting hard early and then just caught that major, dropped the last 2 points.
When you get a chance to take the advantage against a team like Moscow, especially as hungry as they're going to be heading into this match, knowing they're 0-2, and Upton also was 0-2 yesterday, but throwing it right back to them, so we got ourselves a tie game, and you know who's really stepping up right now is Mikhail Kovar. 5 confirmed kills for Mikhail Kovar in the past 2 points.
Yeah, and that's good because yesterday he had a rough day yesterday. He wasn't playing well. He was getting penalties. Just wasn't playing up to the expectations that I personally would have for him. I mean, he's one of those standout Snake players that they picked him up for a reason from X Factor, and this is the guy we actually know and love.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he sacrificed one of his cherished jerseys to the paintball gods last night or what happened, but he's definitely playing better today than he was yesterday. And there it is right there, Mikhail Kovar, 10 kills here in this weekend so far, and that was the awesome crossfield kill that he got in order to help tie this game up here. So if I was Moscow, I would keep running Mikhail over here, but I would say, hey, please keep the penalties to a minimum because those penalties are killing him right now. But 16:37 to go. We got ourselves a whole new game. Thought for a second 187 might start running away with it, but that composure that Russia is known for, that Moscow is known for, is finally coming out here. So that's good to see because they're going to need it.
Yeah, it's still 50 seconds on that penalty, too. Those last couple points, even the point that Moscow played when they started with 4 bodies, they were able to shoot 1, 2 pretty quickly. So Moscow finding their lanes here early, shooting players on the break could be tough for 187. They need to find a game plan where they can get their 4 guys out alive and burn that last 50 seconds off the penalty and get back to full strength. If they only give up 1 more point here, they should be all right to stay in this game. What they don't want to do is give up another quick point, start another one down 4 bodies.
So here we go on the break. Moscow to keep 5 alive and get into the Snake. Upton 187 crew, Eddie Painter still in that box for the next 35 seconds.
Oh, and right there, you know, I was just going to talk to you about this, Maddie. Anton, the rookie, getting a major penalty, diving in the Snake for Moscow Red Legion.
Unbelievable.
Anton Kuchgashij. Sorry. Kuchgaskev. Sorry, I apologize, Anton. But drag a major penalty. God, that just...
Well,
there's penalties.
I just don't know what
all over the place
I don't know what to say right now.
Moscow Red Legion dives into the 50 Dorito. They have the Dorito side can. Looks like Lukashuk trying to keep the 2 187 players from advancing up the field, and he does a good job. Lukashuk picks up Max Trailer going to bunker out the 50 Dorito, and then has to switch as Zaleski makes a move into the Snake.
And you see Brian Jinkle backing up Dan Zaleski right there.
Dan Zaleski looked like he's having a little bit of gun problem, sitting in Snake 3 to 187, but he's tying up Lukashuk's gun over there with the Dorito can.
And Brian Jinkle taking the walk.
Yeah, out of Snake
getting
1.
Shot behind him.
Dorito 1.
And right now, Moscow Red Legion is in a perfect position to drag this penalty out. All Dan Zaleski has to do is look to his left and shoot that 50 Dorito on his left, the very left side of the screen. He's sitting there.
And there comes Eddie Painter. Comes all the way down, bunkers out the 50 Dorito, shoots.
What a move.
Zaleski gets shot in the process. It's Nick Laval and Eddie Painter on one Moscow Red Legion player in the Snake corner.
Yeah, and he gets taken out.
Biernikov gets shot.
What a great move by Eddie Painter right there.
Upton 187, not aware of the penalty, kind of finally realized it before they run and grab the flag and sprint it in. So Moscow Red Legion breaks to the Snake on the break, catches a major, and is able to burn a minute and 50. So
what a brutal...
there goes another penalty on Upton 187.
Just what a brutal, nasty, sloppy game we're seeing here from these two teams. I mean, this is the nastiest, sloppiest game we've seen so far as penalties are concerned. 14-22 to go, but it's all tied up, and hey, at least they're keeping us entertained. We'll be right back after this.
am in 187's pit with Josh Pike. Josh, this has been a crazy match so far. It's been back and forth points, back and forth penalties. What do you do to take advantage of penalties? What's the best strategy?
We're just trying to win points on the sun in our backs because it's pretty sunny out there right now. Trying to stay out of the box. You know, just trying to capitalize on their penalties. That's about it. I mean,
when you are in the box, what can you do to make sure they don't get an advantage and get points on the board?
we're just trying to like chop a couple off the break, shoot a couple at the cans. You know, pretty casual, simple stuff. I don't know. Simple.
All right, we'll see if 187 can take the lead.
Seven penalties in 4 points. If you can believe that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd believe it if I wasn't sitting here right now.
I would.
Yeah, unbelievable. 7 penalties in just 4 points. That is crazy.
Here comes Upton 187 attacking through the middle on the break.
Oh.
Straight up to the A as the rookie comes out of the penalty box for Moscow Red Legion and wears it in the face. Good move there by Greg Lazat to get up to that A right away and be prepared for the player coming out of the box.
Yeah, Greg Lazat's done a great job for 187 Crew of getting up in that center. And he was one of those players that really was looking like he had emerged into a solid professional level player, but just not able to, unfortunately for 187, to commit to the whole season. But they got him back now. Hopefully they'll have him back permanently on the roster because, you know, that kid can ball.
Yeah, I kind of miss calling his number a little bit for a while there. I think he's a great player, has a lot of potential.
And set to come out of the box in 3 seconds. Nick Laval looks like he's gonna go sprinting towards the Dorito side. Comes out to the Dorito side can, immediately gets his gun up on the snake as Michael Kovar bumps from the snake corner into snake 1 and shoots Nick Laval right in the goggles. He comes running off the field. That was Matthew Derula on your screen in snake 3 for Upton 187. He's really putting the pressure on the Dorito side right now as Lucas Shoot gets shot out of the Dorito side can. And Golev gets shot out of that Dorito 1. So Moscow Red Legion dropping bodies off the Dorito side. Just Michael Kovar left in snake 1 as Biernikov dies out of the snake temple. And Michael Kovar gets shot. So Upton 187, if not for that dirty hang, could potentially be up 2 points right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's again, just a lot of sloppy paintball. And if you're a coach or a fan, you're just like, come on, tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Upton 187, this is a 3-2 game right here, but I feel like Upton 187 has dictated the tempo of this game.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's just so tough to. I think they have dictated more of the tempo than Moscow Red Legion, but we're seeing mistakes across the board. And but regardless, Upton 187 Crew, this should be a 4-2 game. It is actually 3-2 because of that dirty hang from Nick Laval. So we'll be right back after this.
A&S Gear is having their World Cup Super Sale. We've got A&S pods for half off. A&S gas tanks starting as low as $99.95. We've got swabs so cheap that you can throw them away. You can get Nelson paint arriving at your door, $31.95. Jerseys, we've got them starting at $4.95. And pants, starting at $29.95. Shop now at ansgear.com and don't miss out on the biggest paintball sale ever.
Welcome back here to the Fantasy of Flight in Polk City, Florida. A little outside of Orlando here. World Cup PSP 2013. Over 400 teams here across many different divisions of competition. We're watching a very historic team, Moscow Red Legion, play right now. They've won world titles on this very field before. And Upton 187 Crew fighting for relevance in the Champions Division. Both these teams 0-2. Both these teams in a must-win situation to keep their tournament hopes alive.
And there goes Lazat going out to the Dorito 1 for Upton 187. Pike tries to break to the snake, and he gets shot as well. So 3 bodies left alive for Upton 187. Moscow Red Legion with the body lead, pushing hard up that Dorito side now in the Dorito side temple. Dorito 1, both pushing on the wire, able to pinch out the snake can that was doubled up. Zaleski and Painter both walking out. And this last player for 187 is going to get destroyed from both sides. Moscow Red Legion tearing their own players apart. So hungry right there. Get down the field. Jason Wheeler is having a rough game right now. Couple penalties. Gets destroyed by his own team, running to go bunker the last player.
Poor Jason.
Well, you know what?
Hey, but still, he was the one running through, though. So he stepped it up there, and Jason Wheeler played awesome in that point, even though one of his boys did shoot him.
I was just going to say that. You know, I mean, he did have a rough time. He was out a rough time getting to his can yesterday, but at least he's getting to their side of the field in their can now. So, I mean, he's one of the premier players. They picked him up for a reason. He was star player.
Well, yeah, Jason Wheeler, the Rookie of the Year last year, and he played great last season. And Moscow itself has just struggled a little bit this season, but he's one of those guys that kind of needs to emerge as a leader on that team because they're, they don't have cRew on the field as an on-field leader. I mean, the crew's still obviously in the pits, but crew's not going to be back on the field for the very least 5 to 6 months if he can come back from a torn Achilles, a completely torn Achilles tendon.
Just like every sport, it's next man up. You can't depend on one guy one day because you never know what's going to happen. Somebody might get an injury, somebody might not be able to make a tournament because of family or they're on vacation or something, whatever the reason. It's always got to be next man up, in any sport. Somebody goes down, the next guy's got to step up. Jason Wheeler had a solid year last year. He was a big part. He was one of their starters. He was one of the reasons why they did well, with cRew and Bierdnikov. And, Jason Wheeler's got to be one of those guys. They lost Axel to the Tauntauns. Jason Wheeler, he wants to be one of those guys. He wants to be one of those guys that is known as one of the premier guys on Moscow Red Legion. So, it's got to be up to him to step up, not get penalties, play smart, and lead his team with Bierdnikov.
So all tied up right now, 3 apiece. We got ourselves a game, 11 minutes and 47 seconds to go on the field for upTon 187 crew. Nick Laval, you can hear early, even though it's first game in the morning, 187 crew's got the fans out here. Dan Zaleski out there, Greg Lazat, Max Traylor, Matthew Derula. Really like how Matthew Derula has been playing at this tournament. I think that kid's a talent. He's definitely stepping up for 187 crew. He's got 3 confirmed out there right now. So on the breakout, heavy guns in the center and attacking up the center. 187 crew sends Greg Lazat again, and he's done a good job of getting up there, but they lose Eddie Painter.
Yeah, Jason Wheeler tries to go up to the A again, and he gets shot. Bierdnikov coming across from the can on the snake side all the way into snake 2 now. Able to slip in underneath the gun of 187 standing at the A. And there goes Dan Zaleski coming into the snake for 187.
Yeah, but Max Traylor and Nick Laval both just got shot right out of their bunkers, though they are looking into the sun from that particular direction, so it's tough to gunfight because you can't see the streams of paint. So here comes Moscow seeing if they can put a point on the board here. Dan Zaleski gets shot out of snake 1
and it
by
looks like
Malloy.
Looks like Lukashuk didn't know that Lazat was in the A. He went to try to cross on the 187 side of the field and got torn up. Kovar coming out of that snake corner all the way, bunkers Lazat out, the last player for 187. As Bierdnikov going to grab that flag and run it in, give Moscow Red Legion a 4-3 lead as long as this hang is clean.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think he knew he was actually in that 50A, trying to make the bump up from that 50 Dorito. And Michael Kovar going to work that game, Todd and Matty. Another 3-pack. So you get, some guys have bad days, and some guys have. He's back on his game now. So
yeah, he's hungry for that win. 4-3 is the score here. That's six kills, just 2 points for Kovar, or just those 2 particular points, two separate 3-packs. It's definitely Michael starting to look impressive out here, and Moscow Red Legion only up by 1 though, and now they're going to flip the sides. So 187 is going to have a little better chance not having to look into that sun. We'll be right back after this. So with still 10 minutes and 37 seconds, I mean, we've seen a lot of paintball in less than 10 minutes on the field. Tons of penalties out there. I mean, there were 7 penalties in the first 4 points, which is ridiculous. But now both these teams, I think, have settled in here. This game, you know what this game looks like? This game looks like a first game of the tournament, not the first game of Saturday.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah, well, before everybody's kind of figured it out, before everybody's kind of on edge.
Yep, a little nervous.
Referee is setting the tone.
Yep. But no, it's actually the first game of Saturday. These guys have already played 2 games. But both these teams struggled mightily yesterday, and both these teams in desperate need of a win.
Jason Wheeler turned around and got shot 1 step out of the flag station.
Yeah, I think Dan Zaleski also trying to make his way out to this side of the snake for 187 Crew getting clipped out too. So both teams 4-on-4 right now.
And Greg Lizotte back up in that A for 187.
They might as well just let Greg Lizotte start in that center A.
Yeah.
Because he's got up there at will. Every time he wants to get up there, he's getting up there. And he's been pretty much choosing to shut down that Dorito side of the field. The D side.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of an odd decision. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but at the same time, it's an odd decision because the snake has been so powerful with 3 and 4 packs.
Oh, then Greg Lizotte, though, gets shot. I think that was Zach Kovar, and then Kovar gets shot.
Back and forth paintball here right now, but taking the 50 Dorito on the other side of the field, but here comes number 3, Matt Drula.
Actually, that was Pavel Karslev, and he just got shot by Darula. Darula's good, man. I think Darula's really going to help 187 out once if he just keeps playing like he's been playing.
You know, Matt Darula right now has the ball shooting across the field. That 50 Dorito, you see him getting as low as possible.
Yeah, both bodies walked off the snake side from Moscow Red Legion. Nick Laval and Darula are over here just destroying that Dorito side. Just 1 body left alive. Good communication. 3 bodies for upTon 187. Nick Laval making sure not to throw away this 3-on-1 situation, playing it very cautiously. Talking to Darula, telling him to be still.
Yeah,
but Max Trailer's still over there in the Dorito 1.
There's Matthew Darula. Definitely statting well for everyone that picked him on your fantasy teams. Probably it's a little bit of an undercover brother, though. Not a lot of people know about Matthew Darula, so he's definitely starting to make a name for himself here.
Yeah, and you know, Nick Laval and Max Trailer can't just sit here and wait for Darula. Darula's got to let him know that he's locked in on him. Nick Laval's got the ball. Max Trailer can watch the Dorito side.
You know, I'm sorry to interrupt, Tom. It's kind of odd that they're just taking them so long in this 3-on-1 situation.
I think, well, especially with the way the sun is right now, but I think that they just want to make double extra sure that they're going to get this hang here because they don't want to throw away that high body situation. The problem is, though, you're right, Chris. It is 3-on-1, so I don't know what's stopping Max Trailer from moving up the Dorito.
I know, and that's very unusual because, I mean, usually if nobody's stopped him, he goes right away, but he's...
Well, is Golev actually gunned up on?
Golev's gunned up on the snake side.
Okay, he's gunned up on Drula, and I don't know what Max Trailer is doing over there.
Neither do I.
He needs to, and Laval as the captain of this team, and he needs to recognize, you know, if he's the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So if you realize I got to get my guy up the field, well, he should be screaming at Max to close the gap right now. He's like, okay, look, he's shooting at Matt. Get up the field.
Yeah, or at least start raining paint on him. You know, make him think you're coming. Make them freak out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. We call that pressure. You want to put pressure on guys. You know, if you're not actually shooting or moving, you're not putting any pressure on anybody.
I mean, I can see that.
Head checks are not pressure.
I can see them doing this if they're up by 1 point, but they're not.
Well, Darula's playing it smart. Darula's,
oh, of course.
He's the guy getting shot at. Darula's the only guy getting shot at right now.
Yeah, what Darula can't do right now is come out and get shot by Golev. You see Golev kind of shooting to the inside. He's not shooting at Laval. He's shooting at that inside pin, trying to bounce balls into Darula.
What?
See that pin right there to the left?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Golev keeps shooting that pin.
Yeah, to bouncing in.
Trying to bounce him into Darula, but Max Trailer has not even gotten up off his knees.
Well, you can see that pin just to Matt's left right there. He's trying to bounce it off that pin. Golev.
Maybe upTon thinks they're up 1 point.
Lord.
Maybe they think you get points for leftover time.
Max Trailer needs to giddy up, man. I don't know. There's nothing stopping him at all. And he needs to get it. He needs to get up the field. Laval needs to tell Max,
Trailer.
or one of the two. But they need this is a communication thing. Laval needs to tell Max, hey, get up the field. What's stopping you? Okay, nothing is stopping you. Move up the field. The last guy left alive is looking at poor Matt Drula. There we go. Finally, Nick Laval launches and handles business over there. So nice work. Hey, at least they got the point. That's the most important thing. I think they were like, look, let's not under any circumstance blow this high body situation. Probably a little nervous about that.
What situation did we ever think we'd have to be saying, when is Nick Laval going to go? And when is Max Trailer going to go?
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe we don't know what they were talking about down there. Maybe they were
won the
fantasy points. Do you have more fantasy points than me? Hold on a second. Let me get this guy.
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, they did win the point, so nice job for Upton 187 crew to tie it up. But, you know, if I was coaching their team and I was from the stands and then we sat in a meeting, I'd be like, yo, what's stopping you, man? If this is just a basic paintball 101 fundamental. If you're not getting shot at and you're in that situation, close the gap. And but hey, they won the points, all tied up here 4-4. And, you know, neither team on a penalty right now, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the first point that we played without getting a penalty?
Might be.
I don't know, man.
With 5 minutes and 26 seconds left to go. I don't know. Who do you think is going to take this one? Who you got right now?
I think 187 is looking better. I really do. You know, if they can stay out of the penalty box, I mean, that kind of goes for everybody. What do you think, Todd?
I think 187 came to play this morning, and I really feel like they've tried to set the tone. They're doing a good job. They shot a couple players on the break. They're being aggressive. They've ran to the snake a bunch of times. I don't know, but Moscow Red Legion, they're that type of team. You know, as soon as they get down, it's when they seem to start playing better.
Hey, if I was Moscow, I would say, look, Bernikov, Kovar, get in the snake, get it done, get us that win.
Yeah.
So let's check in with Lauren Kelly on the sidelines.
Hey guys, I am down in 187's pit with Max Trailer. You and Nick Laval had great communication going on the Dorito side. He was at the X. You were here behind the Dorito. What were you guys talking about to figure out how to get that point?
Well, we've been struggling a lot facing into the sun. You pretty much can't see a thing. So we knew we were up 3 bodies to 1 and we were going to tie that point. So we just wanted to waste as much time as possible, make sure we spent the rest of the game facing away from the sun. So we just sat there, waited it out, and got the last guy, and hopefully we'll finish off the game here with another couple points.
All right, well, they have 5.5 minutes, so we'll see what happens.
And here we go.
2 bodies. Oh, Upton 187 loses Nick Laval, breaking out to the Dorito corner on the break. They got the snake can doubled up. It looks like they lose Lazat out of the Dorito can. So 2 bodies died now. Here comes Moscow Red Legion on the attack. It's going to get real tight in that snake can. The first one to go is Derula. So just 2 bodies left alive. And bodies dying really quickly right here as the Moscow Red Legion starts attacking down the snake through the middle. There goes Zaleski. 1 body left, trying to do the fadeaway one-handed bump to the corner. In a 5-on-1, not gonna work.
Pavel Lukashuk taking 1, 2, 3, 4 pack right there for Pavel. Going to work. It is a 5-4 game in favor of Moscow Red Legion. We'll be right back after these messages.
One of the fundamental issues with traditional paintball markers is the loader on top of the gun. To eliminate those issues, we integrated the loader directly inside the gun. You're not going to have a hopper being a big target for your opponent to hit, and your field of vision will not be restricted anymore. We've done a ton of field testing with different tournament players, different employees. Nobody wants to give this gun back. It's badass.
Being a snake player, diving around a lot, you're crawling a lot, and the Geo can outstand my beating it up down the snake. I can shoot straighter with that gun than I've ever shot in my life. The bunkers are getting smaller and smaller. You really need to play tighter and tighter. Having a small gun like a Geo 3 has helped me evolve my game and be able to play tight spots. My name is Billy Bernaccia. I play for San Antonio X Factor. My gun is a Geo 3.
Welcome back here. So Moscow Red Legion 5-4, coming back and tying it and taking the lead here. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. This has been a pretty dramatic game that we got for the first match.
Yeah, I'm spent.
It's the first game.
Beautiful morning out here, though, at Flight of Fantasy, Fantasy of Flight in Polk City. Great weather. You know, Moscow Red Legion coming back after so many penalty-ridden points back in the beginning of the game to go up by 1 point. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left against upTon 187 split screen breakout. You have Moscow Red Legion on your left and 187 Crew on your right. Look for 187 to go to the snake in the break, I think. Oh, and he goes to the corner. Both teams break out. And up the center, 187 Crew going to work, but losing one player in the process.
Ooh, 187 losing Max Trailer off that Dorito side. 187 actually bounced the snake runner. Kevin Kuhm coming out to the snake temple, but then he gets shot from the inside. Greg Lazat gets shot coming up the middle for 187. Eagles walking off. 3 bodies alive now.
Both teams losing 2 players. Oh, and there goes Kevin Klum. Oh. And a minor penalty, as you've seen the flag fly on Moscow Red Legion. That's going to about do it.
Michael Kovar was shot. Golev just gets shot. And with that penalty that was thrown right there, Bierdnikov gets pulled. So 187 is going to get this point right back. So after evening it up at 4-4 of 187, 2 quick points, one from each side, going to make this a 5-5 game with just under 4 minutes to go. Once he hangs it, actually, I think he might try and waste a little bit more time. Give each other a check, make sure no dirty hangs. So about 3.5 left on this game clock. So back and forth here. Penalties is just hurting these teams.
Penalties has been setting the pace for this game. I mean, there's been a few points that haven't had penalties in them, but overall, point for point, you have lost a point strictly based on penalties.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
and both teams that got a penalty were able to come back and win that next point. Moscow Red Legion got a penalty, played with 4 and won. upTon 187 got a penalty, played with 4, won the game, but then had a dirty hang. So just complete madness going on out here right now.
It's like tennis.
Yeah. The winner of this game is going to breathe a deep sigh of relief.
That is pretty
once this is over, especially because both these teams are 0-2.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe we made it through that game with a victory. My God, 5-5, 3 minutes and 29 seconds to go. I mean, figured just kind of flip a coin at this point.
And the Legion still have to play Ironmen, who are undefeated, and cRew, their next game is against Dynasty. So, you know, if any one of these teams can go 2-2, if you go 2-2, you might still have a shot, at least a really good chance of not having to play for relegation. So, got to get this win here, you know, in this ugly, you know, bloodbath of a morning game.
Yeah.
You know, just to give yourself a chance. Otherwise, the team that loses this one, you know, got a good shot at playing for relegation.
Yeah. No,
pretty much lock it in.
Pretty much locking in. They're playing that relegation, and the way that works is the top 2 teams from the Challengers Division, they're going to be moving on to the Champions Division, and the bottom 2 teams for the Champions Division, well, in the Champions Division have to. Actually, the bottom 4 teams have to play off in the relegation games, and that's not the position you want to be in. You know, it's just unfortunate, and it looks like 187 calling a timeout here. Yeah, so hope you guys got your team in for fantasy, and we'll be giving you guys updated information heading into 2014 on how that's going to work. But I'm pretty stoked about the whole thing. We'll be having all the updates. These are the event fantasy score leaders right here. Damian Ryan in first place with 5,800 points. Got him on my team. Pavel Lukashuk, 4,500. Michael Kovar's doing well. Chad George and Alexander Bierman. Now, there's a lot of Moscow Red Legion players up here because they are playing this game right now. Obviously, you know, the rest of the games are going to be played out throughout the day, and we'll keep you guys updated on all that.
And that tells you a lot about how Damian Ryan and Chad George are playing over here right now. Only, you know, had their 2 games in the afternoon session over there. Damian Ryan just had a festival yesterday in that second game that he played. Started off a little slow and then just came back with tons of kills.
Yeah, he really stepped it up. I mean, he started off a little slow, but that means he only got 6 kills a game.
Yeah, I think he had a 15 and a 14.
I'm sorry, unless he's getting in double digits, I'm disappointed in Damian Ryan because he's just that kind of guy.
Well, let's yeah, right. Let's check in with Lauren Kelly on the sideline. She has Jason Wheeler.
Hey guys, I'm down here in the Russians pit with Jason Wheeler. Jason, you guys are tied 5-5. You have 3 minutes and 29 seconds on the board. What's your strategy going into this? Are you going to try to burn out the time, or are you going to try to flip it? You obviously don't want to be in the sun for the last 2 points.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's 0-0 right now with a 3:29 on the clock. We're not looking to play any different, apart from don't get any penalties. That's the key at the moment for us because it's really plaguing us.
All right, well, we'll see if they can stay out of the box. 24 seconds. We'll see who takes the lead.
Yeah, so wow, 3:29 left to go here. I don't even know who's going to win this one. I mean, it's honestly who plays clean. Just play clean. That's what I would say to my guys. I don't care. Don't get penalties. You get hit, you come off.
Yeah, I can see Moscow Red Legion dragging this point out as long as possible. And on the breakout, split screen, 187 on your left, Moscow Red Legion on your, on your right, 187. And on your left is Moscow Red Legion. Losing one player on the break though, Maddie. Kevin Klum taking the walk on the snake side of the field. And right now, getting stuck in that can, Todd. We were talking about this. 187 is up in that middle A, so those guys are stuck. Berdnikov pretty much has to get up in the middle and go get him.
Well, 187 lost Zaleski coming out here to the snake corner, but they can still lock off that snake side of the field with Lazat as Lukashuk tries to make a bump out to the Dorito Temple on the wire. He gets shot out. So 2 bodies now down for 187, or for Moscow Red Legion, as Kevin Kuhn got shot coming out to the snake side. So 2 bodies on the Dorito side, but they do have Berdnikov, Kovar, and Golev left. Kovar in this snake side can. Gonna lock off the snake side of the field if possible, but not really gonna see an attack. Eddie Painter in the snake can in his mirror. Shooting towards the Dorito side.
Now, Maddie, I mean, do you think that these 2 teams are content in dragging this out?
And here comes Nick Laval.
Well, depends on how things shake out here right now. You know, I think that Lazat's in a really good field position, and up in that center, as he's been, doing a good job of getting up there, up the gut. Number 8, Greg Lazat. So if he can get a kill here, it's all gonna what's gonna shake out in the next minute. Because if things don't shake out in the next minute, you don't see a kill walking off here, well, then we're gonna be heading to overtime.
Well, I can see, Nick Laval trying to get in the snake right now. What I'd like to see is the guy in the A pop out to that tower and help him get to the snake by putting in Michael Kovar right there. Out to the corner, you see Berdnikov going to the corner, but I don't know if I agree with that move or not. He needs help over here on the snake side.
If it's not good, I'm sure Berdnikov will fill back over.
He'll come back to the other guy.
He'll just wait to the other corner. Wait till everybody forgets about him. Fill right back over. Berdnikov, though, does get himself in a position to be wider, and now he attacks up into that Dorito Temple. Catches Lazat looking the wrong way. Lazat still committed over here, the player that could have shot him. But Berdnikov blocking himself out from the Dorito 1 Painter. Couldn't see him as he came up that wire. But Nick Laval, what he needs to do is put in Michael Kovar, and he does with a paintball to the face.
Wow,
Michael
what a
Kovar
shot.
comes walking off.
That's a game winner right there. That's a game-winning shot.
Still got to close it out. Still got to shoot Berdnikov and Golev.
50 seconds to go. They've really got to get moving out here on this snake side of the field. 44 seconds to go.
Oh, keep going.
Now here's the
move.
Gotta
have a chance.
Eddie Painter going to work on this side of the field, shooting one. Only has to get Berdnikov off the field, and they could pull this out. 30 seconds.
Berdnikov's still alive, and Trailer.
And they concede the point, Maddie. What a game.
Wow, so they concede the point so that they have 31 seconds left.
I kind of agree with that,
No,
Maddie.
I agree with it too. Yeah, I agree with it too, because if you think about it, that does make sense, because if they don't concede the point, they're going to lose regardless. They have to give themselves a chance to actually score a point.
I don't know. Berdnikov was still alive, and Max Trailer came walking out of the Dorito like everybody was dead. Yeah. And Berdnikov is the type of guy, he could have sat in that temple because he would have just had to deal with Painter. Painter would have had to shoot Berdnikov and then go all the way and go get the flag. I mean, it would have been close. What if he hangs the flag with a couple seconds? You get upset at yourself if he does that. But, I mean, it's what's going to be easier, trying to, fend off that player for that last 30 seconds or try and win a point in 30 seconds? I mean, this is a good field for a 30-second point.
I see Moscow Red Legion just going up the middle, just pounding, getting 1 or 2 Gs in the break, and just running down the field. I can see that happening.
It's a tough call.
Yeah,
you know.
you can shoot the players off the break for sure. It's definitely possible.
Yeah,
we'll see. Here we go, man. 31 seconds to go. 49 seconds to go before the start of this last point here. Can Moscow Legion tie it up? And who are they going to send out to try to do it? Man, I don't know. This is getting excited.
I think the quickest point we've had this weekend so far was a 40-second point. I'm not 100% clear on that. I think that was the fastest point, and that really wasn't even that fast. I think it can be done in 15 seconds on this field. I really do. I think this is a 15-second field.
Oh, man, I don't know. It's possible, but it always comes down to the break. How fast can you play a point? Well, it completely comes down. Okay, so looks like, just heard that Russian Legion is going to be calling a timeout. That's smart. They need to come up with a real solid game plan here. Okay, well, let's talk about this real quick. What is the fastest way that that you can score a point here? I mean, I don't know, Todd, what would be your 15-second point strategy on this? Obviously, you got to go up the center. 2 up the center, both shooting one way. And then off that delay, try to get into Snake 2, run that Brad McCurley route, that Chad George route that we've seen before.
Yeah, it would probably have to be a combination. You know, and you also have to make sure that you shoot the wide guy on the Snake side. If 187 sends Zaleski out there, Zaleski's been making that Snake corner pretty well. You know, because that Snake corner, it's a tall tower. You know, it's really hard to pinch that guy out of there. And, I mean, to be able to pinch him out, get the flag, and come all the way down, you know, if you make that move on the break up to Snake 2, I mean, they're obviously going to be looking for somebody to come up the middle. You know, and it's not like you're running with a lot of stuff to block you out. It's a wide open gap. You got to cross, you know, that first 15, 20 feet without catching one of those balls from the guys running wide or the 2 guys coming on the can shooting on the inside. So, I mean, they're going to be looking for that move. So you got to take a good angle, use another gun to protect your guy coming up the middle, and then I would maybe try to secondary that move that Brad McCurley was doing successfully yesterday up to that pin on the Snake side and across into Snake 2. But if you make that, then you got to immediately go to Snake 3, try and get across the field into the Moscow Red Legion side of the field, or, you know, the other team's side of the field, and, you know, shoot out that Dorito, the big Dorito, and the Dorito side can as quickly as possible.
Wow.
So.
That's well, that's why you're the coach, Todd, you know.
And, like, I mean, it's going to be a tough one either which way. You know, referees got to be on top of it. You know, there's always the, you know, the penalty factor. You know, bodies could get.
And when things go fast, penalties come. You see that all the time. We've already seen at this event when people try to score quick points.
Here we go. About 3 seconds before this game starts. Let's see who comes out swinging. 2 up the center.
So there's
that. Here comes a major penalty.
Yeah, exactly like we said. Doubling up the center, and because things came fast, they get a major penalty. You know, it's that was pretty much exactly one of the options that we just played out.
And there goes the secondary move on the Brad McCurley move.
Yeah. So, you know, Moscow doubled up the center, and then they sent off the stunt, exactly what we talked about, into the second part of the Snake. And sure enough, they got penalties too, but not able to do it. So time is going to run out, and upTon 187 crew is going to defeat Moscow Red Legion. Moscow Red Legion now 0-3 and pretty much assuring themselves that they are going to be playing here in the relegation match.
And I said at the beginning of this game that 187 crew has Moscow Red Legion's number. They have all year, and if anybody could beat them, it can be them. And look at this, they did, you know, pulled it out. Now Moscow Red Legion looking at relegation if they don't get their stuff together. They're now 0-3 and 1-2 for 187 crew.
Yeah, well, whew. I mean, if the Moscow Red Legion had 6 penalties. I mean, how are you going to win a game with 6 penalties?
You can't.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they almost did it. They had a chance,
yeah,
but they got the penalties at the end. And I mean, Moscow Red Legion just really having a big problem with penalties. Not something that they've really had issues with in the past. So I don't know. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out for them, because now the Moscow Red Legion's got to play Ironman next.
And they're looking good.
Well, one of the things, though, is that if you're now 0-3, you've got nothing to lose, a lot of times that's the scariest team to play, especially if you're playing well already, because, you know, the Ironmen are 2-0. So it's
2-0 for now. They're playing Heat.
They're playing Heat next.
Heat
Heat's also 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be crazy, man.
But if you look at the spreads, I mean, right now Heat's +4, which means they've had won by an average of 2 points each game, and Ironmen are +10. They won by an average of 5 points each game. So on paper, Ironmen are playing a little better, but realistically, Heat's a better team. Well, I mean, so to speak. The Ironmen, man, they're looking good, though. I'm pretty impressed with the way they're playing. I think this is the best they've been playing all year, in my personal opinion.
I totally agree. I definitely agree, which, considering the fact that they've had roster turnover and they don't have one of their best players here in Steven Pitts, that's pretty cool to see the Ironmen finally stepping up. Played, at least yesterday, played the best paintball we've seen them play all year, because I think it's one of those situations where you're forced into that. It's either do or die for them in a very real sense. So, and also their veterans, Mike Paxton, Marcelo Margot, and Alex Goldman played phenomenally yesterday.
Yeah,
so,
Alex was playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
I think he has guns on the mind.
Yeah, it's like, I need to get up there. But yeah, they played very well and contributed. Alex Goldman playing really great on the snake side of the field, and Marcelo Margot just doing it over there on the Dorito side as well too. Well, before we get to that match, let's check in with Lauren Kelly. She has Nick Laval with upTon 187 crew.
With Dan Zaleski and Nick Laval of 187. Great job, guys. That was an amazing match. The sun is super intense. I can't even look at the camera right now. How did you guys deal with that?
It was like fighting a third opponent. Some of us put on visors, and when we were down there, our mentality was really just try to get 1 point down there and try to go even on both sides. So,
what kind of strategy can you come up with to make sure you get points when you're on that side? Because you guys did get points when you were facing the sun.
One of our biggest things is we knew we had to win the points where the sun was at our back, and if we could win any with the sun in our face, then we were doing a little bit better. We had a really slow point because we actually wanted to take the points on the non-sun side and run off some of the clock, and that ended up helping us in the end.
All right, well, you have Dynasty coming up. They lost 0-4 yesterday, but they're going to be really hungry today. What's your strategy going in?
I mean, obviously, like everyone, try to shoot someone off the break, but they're very good at staying in the middle and shooting people off the break as well, so it's going to be a battle.
All right, well, sorry I couldn't look at you. The sun is so bright. I don't know how they did it, but great job, guys. We have another one coming up. Next up, though, we will have Heat. We'll see if they can get another win.
Yeah, so Houston Heat and the Los Angeles Ironmen coming out to play this next matchup. Both these teams 2-0, and both these teams looked pretty good yesterday, though I'd say the Ironmen look better than Houston Heat.
Yeah, you know, I think that they're playing not really, punch you in the face paintball, so to speak. I think that they're playing a little more conservative than the Ironmen usually do, but I think they're playing smart paintball. I think they're using good game plans. I think that they're adapting situations, and I think that they're just overall playing as a team right now, I think.
Yeah, and Heat really had some of their main guys not play great yesterday. Fedorov didn't play great yesterday. He's definitely got more in him. Sergey didn't play great yesterday. He played pretty decent in some points, but it's kind of a little hit or miss. And so they need a little bit more consistency out of those guys. And so we'll see. Chad George played amazing that first game. And, we'll see. We'll see what Houston Heat brings to the Ironmen, though. On paper, at least from yesterday, I would have to give the advantage to the Ironmen in this matchup, but Houston Heat has done much better than the Ironmen for the past 2 seasons. So we're about to find out, though, as they about to play in just about 3 minutes. And then here's the schedule for the day. Next up after Houston Heat and LA Ironmen, San Diego Dynasty and upTon 187 crew. And then the LA Ironmen, Moscow Red Legion, and then Dynasty Houston Heat. Then we are going to see the roster premiering during lunch. And then after that, Omaha Vicious, New Jersey Jesters, Seattle Thunder, Sacramento Excessive, San Antonio X Factor, Chicago Aftershock at 3 o'clock. These times are all Eastern time. And then Edmonton Impact and LA Infamous, Tampa Bay Damage, Chicago Aftershock at 3:45, 4:30 LA Infamous, San Antonio X Factor, and 5:15 Tampa Bay Damage and Edmonton Impact. So we are going to be right back here in just a few seconds to see this Houston Heat